You've probably told yourself you are just bad with money, that you're irresponsible, that you just need more discipline. But what if it was never about the discipline? What if your brain was actually wired in a way that makes traditional money management feel like trying to swim upstream every single day? Today, we are getting into something that does not get talked about enough in personal finance: ADHD and money, because the two are more connected than most people realize. And if you've ever missed a bill, even though you had the money, made an impulse purchase you immediately regretted, or started a budget 47 times and never stuck with it, this episode is for you.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go. Smart investments, money flow.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sugar Daddy Podcast, the podcast that helps you create a clear plan with your money so that you can feel confident and in control about your money. Today, we are talking about something really important. Babe, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about ADHD and your money
Yeah.
and how, the two intertwine and how it can be difficult to, do the financial planning aspects if you are someone that does ADHD, and really kind of just acknowledging that, that is a hurdle you have to overcome, and maybe some of the things that you can do to help overcome that.
Yeah. And listen, if you are new here, welcome. We're so glad you're here. If you're an OG, welcome back. Then you already know we are not therapists. We are not
Ooh.
licensed counselors. We have none of those credentials behind our name. So please, please, please take this episode with a grain of salt. Brandon is the licensed financial planner. I am just the amazing wife.
You are
But
more than just an amazing wife.
well, thank you. But we are not therapists, so you do need to know that. But there is enough information out there now about ADHD, and we're even seeing it with our own children. And I'm kind of looking at it for myself because I'm like, do I have ADHD? And I think one of the things that's important is we used to have this picture of ADHD, and I'm a former teacher, and you would hear about what ADHD is, and you would just get this picture of like boys jumping up and down and like bouncing off the walls.
Like, oh, squirrel, ball.
Right, exactly. And just like that hyperactivity. But I think, now we know so much more about ADHD and more importantly, how it manifests differently between boys and girls, men and women. And so we are going to talk a little bit about that today. But definitely wanted to make sure that you know that we are not therapists. And this does not replace any kind of therapy or counseling that you
Or
might need.
medication.
Or medication. Yeah, none of that. Okay. So ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects how the brain regulates attention, impulse control, and executive function. And that last one, the executive function piece, that's where we might run into some trouble when it comes to money, right?
Yeah.
So the executive function is basically the brain's project manager. So planning ahead, starting tasks, managing time, resisting impulses. That's where ADHD impairs that portion of how your brain system is functioning. So when you're thinking about things like budgeting, saving, avoiding impulse spending, paying bills on time, those kind of basic day-to-day things, that is where if you have ADHD, you could struggle.
Oh, 100%, because as you kind of stated earlier, I think the picture that was always painted to us of what ADHD is and how it presents was one very singular idea.
Totally.
Whereas now that we have more information, more research, we know that it presents in so many other different ways.
Yeah.
And that, a lot of people that as children had ADHD but weren't diagnosed because they didn't present in those stereotypical way that we were thought to believe when we were children are now starting to maybe realize that, hey, I actually do have ADHD, and now I know why I've had, I've struggled with this, or I've had issues with this, because I was undiagnosed for so many years.
Or you grew up in a house, let me just call it what it is, with a black dad and or immigrant parents that literally just didn't believe that it was real. Because I knew not to out my brother, but I know he'd be fine with this. I knew my brother had ADHD. He knew that he had ADHD. You know who did not recognize his ADHD? My dad did not ever acknowledge and or recognize. And you know what he would say? He would say things like, well, he sure can concentrate on those video games when he wants to. And it's like, that's not what it is. So if you had a dismissive parent, because again, we are elder millennials, so, we came up in the 80s and 90s. If you had a parent that just simply was like, this is not real, you're making excuses.
I mean, my brother had ADD. He was diagnosed with ADD
Yeah.
growing up, and he had taken medication during that time period to help out
Yeah.
with that. But like I said, I also recognized during that time period, looking back, he didn't present as you would think other people were, because
'Cause he's a quiet
he was, yes,
introvert.
exactly.
And he's not the hyperactive.
He was not a
yeah.
hyper, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and even to this day, your mom will say things like, well, Marcus is ADD. And I'm like, no, he has it. So even like those little things, it's like, no, this is not who you are as a person. This is something that you have, and it's something that you can choose to manage or, put tools in place and systems in place to help you manage and overcome. It's not who you are.
Yeah.
So even that language, I think, from our parents has changed. And I have to even remind the older people in our families, like, no, it's not something they are, it's something they have, you know? So, yeah. Okay. So it's really important to, understand how it can show up. And then also just, high level research shows that people who have ADHD, they're significantly more likely to carry credit card debt, have lower savings rate, report financial stress. And then the more you dive in, it's not because you don't want to. It might not be because you didn't have the money and you couldn't pay the bills. It's because you don't have systems in place to help you manage when to pay the bills, when to open the bills, when to, start going through that pile of mail on your desk, those types of things.
And this goes back to the, part of financial planning where it's understanding who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And, what is your personality like? What are some of the hurdles, such as, having ADHD that you have to deal with? And then understanding that, accepting it, and then putting systems in place to help you overcome those hurdles. Because we all have them,
Yeah.
whether it's ADHD or something else. But it's like I said, it's being real with who you are as who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And then moving forward from there.
Also recognizing that most research was historically done on men, on boys.
I'm gonna say probably most research was done on white men. Also, I don't know.
I mean, probably.
I don't say.
I don't know.
Is there any? But did you
probably.
find any Did you find anything that maybe
I did not.
ADHD presents different in?
No.
Okay.
I strictly focused on gender.
Mhm.
I did not go into like race or ethnicity.
But it's like basically, as an adult now, finding out that basically everything from a research standpoint within the physiology of the human being is all done on men. It was always done on men, and no variety.
So even then, like the research that is now starting to come out for women is still much more limited because it's much newer. Exactly. So it is fascinating.
That's
and it's
interesting. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't recall knowing any women. I mean, when we were children, girls that were diagnosed with ADHD.
No.
I knew tons of guys.
Yes. Yeah.
But I didn't know any women that were diagnosed.
Right. Well, and it's so interesting because, again, as a former school teacher, you had the diagnosis for the boys, like you just said. And then for the girls, it's like, oh, well, she just has a hard time staying on task, or she just this, or she just that. And it was never a formal diagnosis, not even like a question of like, should we have her tested? What other things can we put in place? Like, if anything, it was the teacher trying to help, again, put system structure in place to help them stay on task or, overcome whatever the barriers were, but never anything further than that.
Yeah, which is interesting because, we believe that our daughter maybe has some form of ADHD. We haven't had her formally tested. And there's reason why we haven't had her formally tested, but we definitely recognize things about her everyday behavior.
Totally.
That definitely lean towards that.
Yeah. And because historically all the testing was done on men, we have this like very vivid picture of what it is, right? Boys bouncing off the wall, that kind of thing. But there's so much more and it presents so much differently. So before we get into how we can help manage this, let's talk about what it could present as
Okay.
in men versus women. So in men, it's most likely going to present, and again, there's always outliers, there's always exceptions to the rule. And again, we are not licensed therapists, but it's more likely to present as hyperactivity and those external or visible symptoms, right? So maybe some impulsivity, gambling, spontaneous large purchases, overspending on hobbies and experiences. They might hyper focus on income producing activities. So if you're thinking about, and again, as I'm reading through this, I like totally have my brother in my head. But, that entrepreneurial side hustle type spirit where you are so hyper focused on one thing that you might be neglecting, the maintenance of bills and saving and budgeting and long term retirement savings. Um,
Yeah, luckily your brother doesn't have that issue.
Right. You know, boys and men are much more likely to be diagnosed earlier in life, which means that you might have more of an opportunity to understand how to overcome and put systems and processes in place to help with that diagnosis. And then that risk-taking tendency is a double-edged sword, right? Like it could be really great in entrepreneurial pursuits, but it could be dangerous if you're talking about like investing without a plan or, again, my brother has definitely sent us like, oh, this is going to be the next big opportunity. Like, this is so exciting. Go put all your money in this. And then you start digging in and you're like, yeah, you have fun with that, but we're going to pass. Thanks. So it shows up in different ways. So, and then for women, it's more likely to present with more of like that inattentive type of behavior. So, disorganization, forgetfulness, difficulty prioritizing, internal restlessness. Women with ADHD are more likely to mask or internalize. So they end up developing coping mechanisms that might hide the struggle from others, or sometimes they might even be trying to hide it from themselves, which we've definitely seen that even in our own
Yeah,
house.
as you were reading through how it presents, I was like, check,
Yeah, check,
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 check.
check for
I
our
know.
daughter.
The financial impact often can show up as avoidance. So, thinking about those unopened bills, maybe unfiled taxes, ignored account statements. And again, it's not because they don't care, but it's because it becomes overwhelming and then it becomes paralyzing. Um, Often women are diagnosed much later, so then, or not until adulthood. I actually know several people who are like, oh, all of this makes sense. And I'm now 38 years old and I just got an ADHD diagnosis. Now it all makes sense. Um, and so sometimes it shows up after like a major life event, like a divorce or a job loss, or becoming a parent, where you realize, oh my gosh, like this is becoming unmanageable. Like I need some support. And of course, because we're women, then we have higher rates of shame and self-blame, which ends up creating the cycle of avoidance, which then leads to bigger problems. And it's just this like loop that women can end up being on. But what to look for, I think is really, really important to start off with. Did you want to add something?
No, I'm just like I said, like as you're obviously reading through those things, I'm thinking about like our daughter in
Hmm.
regards to like it's very interesting like the difference between men and women as far as like men were like, oh, there's a reason for why I'm doing this.
Yeah, you
I'm
guys
blaming
will always
I'm gonna
blame
blame it on
somebody
that
else, an
reason.
external
And
factor.
women, like even when sometimes presented with an alternative reason for why something like they still gonna internalize it and put the blame on themselves.
Yeah, always. I mean, we do that in business too, right? If like a man flops a project, it's like, oh, well, this team didn't do this and this didn't do that and this didn't go right. And a woman's like, oh my gosh, I suck at life.
Because even with like our daughter, it's like we're she has a hard time staying on task like when getting ready in the morning,
Mm,
and we're like, baby girl, it's okay. We know why this is happening. We just have to work on ways to, move it along so that you stay on task. And she just gets upset and internalizes everything and is angry. And I'm
yeah.
like, it's not a big deal at this point in time. We're going to work on this. And
Which
it's
is like hard,
yeah,
especially when it's like Monday through Friday in the morning. And like we do actually have limited time
yeah.
to get things done. But, um, from the outside in, especially with women and girls, it can often look like somebody just doesn't care or they're apathetic. But internally, there's so much going on and they are feeling so much overwhelm and shame. And I think that my heart breaks, especially again, because I'm pretty sure if we had her diagnosed that she would get an ADHD diagnosis. Um, but even, with some of your clients, you're like, yeah, we need to just go ahead and schedule the meeting to do the thing, right? To
Yes.
fill out the paperwork, to fill out the form, to move the money, and it's because you know that they're not going to do it on their own. And it's not because they don't want to, or because they're not motivated, or because, you know, they don't think it's important, but because they literally just have a barrier that is going to prevent them from getting it done between this meeting and the next meeting.
Yeah, and that's come through, years of doing this and
Yeah.
really starting to understand like all the different needs that people have depending on who they are and really understanding, upfront and saying, "Hey, like I need to understand who you are as a person."
Yeah.
Because understanding who you are
You
as
say
an
that so often.
well, I need to understand how you are because how I work with one client and how I work with 10 clients
Hmm.
might not work for this one client over here. So like I really want to understand who you are, what are your needs, and be very honest about it. Say, like, I want to meet you where you're at. I'm not trying to get you to meet me where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like there's some clients where I can like give them a list of 10 things to do. And I know this, and they're gonna be like boom, 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 and check it off, do it
Right.
easy on their own. Where there's other people, if I did the same thing, they're not gonna get any of that done. And like you said, it's not because they don't want to get it done. It's because they see a list, it becomes overwhelming, and then they don't do anything.
And then they just tap out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, let's just schedule an hour meeting where we're not talking about anything new. We're just tackling this
The task
action, the
list.
task
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
And like I said, like that's perfectly fine. And that's why I say you also need to find the person that works for you because there's some advisors that don't want to work like that,
Yeah.
and they're not going to take that extra step. So knowing who you are as a person, knowing what your needs are, and then if you're going to work with someone, finding someone that is going to work with your specific needs.
Well, I was actually also going to make a quick call out that you are a fee-based advisor. Again, for anybody new that's listening. So you don't do assets under management. Here's a fixed amount for the year. And
Made by monthly payments.
what you just said, I think is really interesting because for those people that do need more support and just getting through some of those tasks, because a lot of what you do is task based, right? You need
Yes.
to send me this statement, open this account, like there are things that just have to get done before you can move the needle. But because you're fee based, there are clients who take you up on like, yeah, let's schedule the time and like, let's do another Zoom call and let's just do it together.
Yeah.
And it's not something that you're charging extra for,
No,
So I think
that's
that
part of
that's great.
the it's part of the full planning
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. And I think it's important what you said about people knowing who they are, because I think sometimes people, especially when it comes to finances, aside from the fact that like this is not what we were taught, nobody, unless you took finance in school or economics or you have a, business or accounting degree, none of us took this in our regular ed classes.
No.
Most of us did not have this in K through 12 education. So like we're already starting from a very, very low bar. Most of us did not learn about this from our families. So like we're starting from zero, right? And then you have these feelings of like, well, why am I bad with money? Why is this not working? Why can't I be better? And so you know that you're struggling, but you don't quite know why or what to call it. And so we're going to name some of the most common kind of money patterns. I don't want to call them mistakes, but money patterns that people struggle with, whether you have ADHD or not, but especially if you do have ADHD. So I'm going to give a couple of examples so that feel seen. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think that's a huge point is to feel seen and know that it's not just you.
It's not just you. No. Have you, because I've had people text me, right? And it's very clear that they feel embarrassed, they feel behind, and they'll say, well, will Brandon work with somebody like me? I don't know very much about this, or I know I don't have as much money as the next person. Have you ever worked with somebody who has been so unique and so different than anybody else?
No, a lot of the same. Like, I mean, a lot of the high level goals are going to be the same. A lot of the fears are the same. A lot of the level of financial literacy is the same because, like I mean, I have people that I consider significantly smarter than me. Surgeons and lawyers and everything like that. Like things where you went to school for many years
Yeah.
in order to obtain the credentials and the knowledge to do what you do, and they don't know, basic, quote unquote, basic things within finance
Yeah. Well, that's
because
not their
most of us,
field.
yeah, because
Yeah.
most people don't, and
Yeah.
it's so.
Well, and all that to say, like, you think that you're coming to Brandon as like this poor, sad person that doesn't know anything and has done everything wrong. But like, no, you're not.
No, I mean,
You're
most
not.
people that come to me are. Like I said, I've never had somebody come to me and I'm like, oh my god, like you are this, the 0.0001%
Right.
of, like, I've never seen this issue before. No, most of the time, same, same
Same scenario,
same
different
scenario.
package.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's get into some of these things that may or may not feel familiar to you. But I think one big one is the impulse kind of purchase spiral where you're seeking that dopamine hit and that, maybe is driving that spontaneous spending. So the purchase feels really great in the moment. You get that high that you needed and then you immediately regret it, or that thing that you just bought, still has a tag on it in the closet or gets shoved in some drawer and you never look at it again. And so that can happen in response to being bored, being stressed, having some sort of other emotional dysregulation, but you're spending money without a clear plan or thought behind it.
Yeah, I've never done that.
You, Mr. I overanalyze everything.
Yeah.
Bill blindness, so not opening mail, ignoring notifications, forgetting due dates. And again, it's not necessarily because the money isn't there, but because the task creates anxiety.
Yeah, that's the interesting part there because there's a lot of people that do the bill blindness, but they don't have the money.
Right.
So,
Which that makes sense. It's like, I'm not going to look at this
it's
because I
like,
can't pay it
I can't pay
anyway.
it anyways. But to have the money to handle it, but you're still not looking at it and taking care of it, yes, that is.
That's a problem. Yeah. And then, of course, like it makes things worse because if you're not paying bills on time, then you're going to have the late fees. You could be damaging your credit in the process. And it's compounding those problems. So then another month passes, and now you definitely don't want to open the mail. Another month passes, and just it keeps snowballing.
Yeah, because it's a problem that could have been avoided
Right.
by understanding the specific needs that you have.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing, and I've seen this in some of my friends, that feast or famine spending, where you have hyper focused financial discipline for a really short period of time, followed by just like complete collapse and chaos. So like it's an all or nothing. You're either completely perfect or the wheels are completely off the train. And this is why traditional budgeting apps often fail for people with ADHD. And if there is an app out there for people specifically focused on people with ADHD or neurodivergence, let me know because we can put it in the show notes. And if there's not, like, listen, I just think I came up with an idea because I think it's important.
It's important to point out with budgeting apps is that they are just a one piece.
Yeah.
And it's not
A
like, oh, I
small
have
support tool.
yeah, it's not, oh, I have a budgeting app. Everything's good now because
Yeah.
you have to, the budgeting app is not going to necessarily facilitate you building the habits of using it properly.
Yeah. So true. Another one is just the interest problem, and not interest as in like compounding interest, but like the ability to actively stay engaged on one thing. And I think that is, you know,
I've seen that with people.
yeah, explain. What have you seen?
It's like you're sitting in a meeting, you're trying to have an important conversation
Mm-hmm.
about one specific topic. It's not as if you're jumping around a variety of things, and you can actively see the person is not engaged.
Mm.
It's like I can see it, and I don't think it's due to.
It's not
Yeah,
intentional.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
not
Or
intentional.
malicious.
It's
Yeah.
not trying to be rude. It's just that they're unintentionally not engaged in a conversation that's very important because
Yeah.
it's also your life, not mine.
Well, and maybe because a lot of what you do is long-term planning, long-term goal setting. Like you're not going to wake up and become a millionaire tomorrow because you invested in the S&P 500, right? So
Yeah.
I think
If I could
too,
do that, I wouldn't be working.
right.
I wouldn't have any clients because
But maybe the reward is too far away, right? And then your brain is like, yeah, we don't need to focus on this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's something that's really interesting. And also, and I don't know, I don't have the research on this, but I'm assuming, if you are having a hard time planning for the future because the reward is so far away, then you're probably not going to be investing unless it's that spontaneous, ooh, this sounds like a great idea, and I'm going
The
to
dopamine
the
hit.
dopamine hit and I'm going to invest, but not that long-term, slow growth, we need 20 or 30 years to get to where we want to go type investing. So if you are, I don't want to say lacking the interest, but like if you are having a hard time staying engaged and interested, that can compound into other problems as well.
Yeah.
Income inconsistency. So many with people with ADHD gravitate towards self-employment, entrepreneurship, freelancing, commission-based work, which matches their need for stimulation and autonomy. Again, thinking of my brother, but it creates variable income, which is something I talk to my brother about all the time. And I think too, you are an entrepreneur for different reasons, not because you have ADHD.
I kind of fell into it.
You
It
did,
wasn't like
yeah.
I set out
But now
looking
that
for
you
it.
have worked for yourself, could you go back and work for somebody else?
How much? Depends on how much they're going to pay me.
I think the answer is no. I think you would really, really struggle. Whereas,
Probably.
whereas I, like, in my deep down heart of hearts, I'm like, yes, let's be content creators. Let's be full-time podcasters. Like, let's do all the things. But I also am like, no, but I really like consistency. I
Yes.
really like a biweekly paycheck. I really like my 401k match. You know, like I like those things, even though those aren't secure. And like we've openly talked about that on the podcast. But like income inconsistency really stresses me out. It just really does.
Yeah.
Like even if we were like, yeah, we made $200,000 last month, amazing, I would still be stressed. Even though that would
So
like
it's going to come next month.
right, exactly. So even though like next month it could be like, yeah, we made $5,000. Okay, great. But it wasn't 200,000. So now I'm stressed and anxious. So that doesn't work for me. And then the last one we have is that analysis paralysis on big decisions. You talk about this a lot, but it's really just that overwhelmed feeling of making financial decisions, which account, which fund, which credit card. Like I have friends that are like, oh yeah, I still haven't opened that high yield savings account because I didn't know which one to pick. When I've clearly said, don't spend more than 5 minutes on this.
Yeah.
Picking one and making the quote unquote wrong decision or missing out on 0.05%, like 3% versus 3.5%, it's not going to matter in the long run. Like pick an account. What's going to matter is the fact that you're still earning no interest in your Bank of America savings account.
And that's going to be a big part of like having somebody that can help you, one, narrow down the choices, the options that you have.
Yeah.
And then also making it clear to you, hey, these are all viable, good options. So you're not going to go bad by
The
choosing them.
inaction is the bad option.
Yes.
Yes.
Because when you think that you're not making a choice, you are actually making a choice. By not making a decision, you made a decision.
Yes. And just to be clear, it's not because you're lazy. It's not
No.
laziness. It's just genuinely your brain cannot prioritize and everything either feels equally urgent, which then kind of snowballs into like, I can't do this because I can't make a decision, right?
I mean,
so the decision sits unmade for months.
I would say a majority of people that come to me, looking to have help, they're not lazy people. They're not lazy.
No,
and
no.
them, the things that the decision that they haven't made, the plan that they haven't done, has nothing to do with their work ethic, and it has nothing to do with because they're not lazy people.
No.
It's the unknown and the inability to make a decision because you have unknown.
Oh, I mean, I will say right off the bat, like my brother is one of the hardest working people I've ever met. Like it is not a lack of want. It is not a laziness. It is none of those things. And I do think that he has found ways to help him get the things done that need to get done, right? And to start focusing in on the things that bring him true joy and income and the things that he can outsource. And so let's roll right into like, now we know what to look for, how it might be showing up in men versus women. Let's give people some things that they can put into place to actually help.
Yeah.
So the goal here is not to fix anything because you're not broken. The goal is to build a financial life that works with how your brain already operates. So we're not fighting the biology because this really is biology.
Oh, yeah.
This is how you were born. I can look at our daughter.
You don't get rid of ADHD. You learn how to manage it.
Exactly. So we're going to design a system around how your brain was created so that you can find success.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's tip number 1, babe?
Tip number 1 is automate everything that you possibly can. And I am a big advocate of this for everybody.
I
Whether you
yeah,
have ADHD
I
or
was gonna
not,
say.
this makes your life so much easier because it takes away one extra decision that you have to make on a consistent basis.
Yes.
So, like, the easiest one is like, hey, if I decide that I'm going to save this certain amount of money into my high yield savings account on a monthly basis, automate that saving rather than manually making the transfer each month.
Right. I think even I mean, for us, right? Like, our investments are automated. If you are getting a 401k match, that is an automation.
Yes.
That is you automatically investing every single month. So you might not be thinking about it like that, but that is what you're doing. You can do the same thing with a portion of your paycheck every single time you get paid. 2%, 5%, 10%, whatever you can afford, automatically have that taken out so you never even see it. And if you don't see it, you don't miss it.
Yeah.
Automate
I don't have ADHD and I automate everything.
everything.
Anything and everything in my life that I can automate,
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it also like just think about the idea of just forgetting stuff. Like
Oh my gosh.
it
Our
makes your
lives are
life so much
so
easier.
busy. Our lives are way too busy to do everything manually. And I'm thinking of some friends and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's too much. You got to automate it. So set up automatic bill pay for your fixed expenses, your rent, mortgage, utilities, subscriptions, minimum debt payments, HOAs, whatever it is. If you can get it off of your plate, like we check the mail, once every 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Because ain't nothing in the
Yeah.
mail.
Because everything's automated.
Yeah, ain't nothing in the mail that I need to actively be responding to. So automate what you can. Your retirement contributions, transfers to savings on payday, move the money before you see it, automatic investments, everything automated. Definitely number one. All right, number two is build a money routine, not a budget, because sometimes words matter and the word budget stresses people out, sometimes makes them shut down. So for people who have ADHD, especially the traditional budget model is kind of setting you up to fail because you have to really focus and hone in, right? And we've already talked about how that might not be conducive. So instead of a budget, we're going to talk about a money routine, something that you do at the same time in the same way every single week.
And I think it's also important to point out that these tips can kind of stack upon each other. So
Yes,
for example,
habit stacking.
yes. So for example, with the, building a money routine, part of building a money routine is having automations in place so that you can spend less time, monitoring everything.
Yes. So pick one day a week. You can call it your money date, whether you're single or, in a partnership and as a couple, and spend 15 minutes max. One thing that we've been doing, and it works very well when we do it, and then we try to let her undo it, but we have a timer in every part of our house. Well, we have our Alexa, but we also literally have physical timers that she can pick up and walk with. So if I say you have 15 minutes in the bathroom to shower, brush your teeth, get lotion, put on jammies, whatever, like you are actively watching that clock.
Yeah.
Or, here, set a timer for brushing your teeth, set a timer for literally anything. Hey, focus on your math homework for 20 minutes. That's it. And once that timer goes off, you can walk away. You can do the same thing for your money date. So set a timer, 15 minutes. Check your balances, review what came in, open a couple pieces of mail, flag anything that needs attention, and keep it short and non-negotiable. So 15 minutes. Focus, we're not asking you to sit down for 3 hours.
Yeah, and honestly, I think keeping that limited time frame works well for a lot of people because I
Yeah.
would say, unless you're the outlier when it comes to finance, it's not necessarily the topic that you're thrilled about.
Right.
So, being hyper focused for a shorter period of time, I think would be more beneficial for most people in general.
Yeah. And you can pair that with something that you're going to enjoy, right? A good cup of coffee in the morning, your favorite playlist, sitting outside listening to the birds. Don't let them distract you. But looking at it as more of a reward than a chore, and getting your mind right. So again, habit stacking, especially for those of you with ADHD brains, it's a new behavior, but put it with something that you already enjoy doing so that your brain isn't automatically shutting down before you even get started. What's number three?
Tip number 3 is simplifying your account structure. Now, I always have sometimes with my clients where I'm like, do you want the most optimized or do you want the most simple?
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, because optimized could be, optimized from a financial gain standpoint.
Oh,
So
okay.
therefore, it could
Okay.
have
Mhm.
multiple accounts, which is their goal is to, accrue the most amount of money.
Okay.
Whereas some people's plan, goal is to obviously they want to accrue some money, but their main focus is to simplify things in their life, to make things easier.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you don't need 6 checking accounts.
Yeah, because like for example, like there could be an investment strategy that takes a lot more effort and is a lot
Yeah.
would yield a higher amount in the end, but
Mhm.
it's also a lot more work on their end and their day to day life. And that might not be what they're looking for. I mean, I have a client in my mind now where we've been working together for years, and I always, when we have our routine meetings, I'm like, you've optimized a lot of things in regards to what we can currently do. If you want to take it a step further, it's going to take more effort on my end and also more effort on your end. Do you want that, or do you prefer the simplicity that you have set up right now?
Oh, and what does she choose?
As of right now, it's simplicity
Yeah.
because it's also the season of life that you're in.
Yes,
Season
yes.
of life that she's in right now, simplicity is 100% where she should be going.
Okay, okay. I like that. So, ways to simplify whatever is happening in your life. So, like, if you have variable income, you could have like a 2-account system where one account is holding all of your income and then an operating account where you move your money as you need it. But you're not managing, 10 different accounts type
Yeah,
thing.
it could even be to the point of like, if you haven't taken the time and you've switched jobs multiple times and you have 401k plans at former employers,
Oh, yeah.
simplifying your account structure, roll those 3 former 401k plans into one IRA. Makes it easier for you to look at and monitor
Mhm.
rather than having 3 separate accounts to look at.
Which wouldn't you recommend that anyway
I would
for
recommend that
anybody?
anyways, but
Yeah.
that's just one aspect of like how you can simplify your account structure to make your life easier.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Some people might even need to go as far as having like that physical cash envelope system, where
I hear that
like
and
if you tend to overspend, then
I
it's like, here, I have
yes.
$100 for groceries, and then I go to the grocery store with my $100 envelope, and that is what I have.
So here's my only pushback in that scenario
Okay.
is that one of the benefits of being more digital is it's easier for you to track.
Sure.
So if you're going to be
Yeah,
the
and it's
person,
safer, obviously.
but if you're going to be the person that's doing the cash method, that's going to add an extra tax for you to track where your cash is going now, rather than, for
Okay.
example, if you use your credit card or, if you're using a debit card, but if you're using a credit card and you're able to see where your purchases are, you're able to connect that to a budgeting app and have that information already synced in without you having to do
Sure.
an extra lifting.
Yeah.
Whereas at the cash, now you have an extra lift because you need to track where all the money, the cash is that you're spending, keep track of those receipts, write it down, spreadsheet, whatever it may
Sure,
be.
sure. Well, okay.
That's
So
the
I
only
guess you have to
pushback.
decide like what's better, not overspending and not having visibility or
But also, but it's not even that because you also have to be realistic in the concept of it from a high level view
Mhm.
makes sense in certain aspects. But also,
Sure.
you have to look at the world we live in.
Yeah.
Do we live in the cash world? There are plenty of
No, no.
places where you cannot even go and spend cash.
That's
They are
true.
no longer taking cash. So you have to be realistic in the world that you're living in also.
Yeah. Well, I was saying for like groceries or things like that, but yeah.
There are some places that don't take
Okay.
cash.
Okay. All right. Tip number 4 is to make the invisible visible. So if you are avoiding something and it's one of those like out of sight, out of mind scenarios, then you need to make things visible. So put your savings goal on a sticky note, on your mirror, on your laptop. Use a visual debt tracker, a simple bar or thermometer chart showing your balance. Going down works incredibly well. I would even say just not even for people who have ADHD, but just people who like to visualize. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
100% because I told you with a few of my clients, simply having them set up monarch accounts and
Mm-hmm.
being able to see clearly in green, this is the income I have coming in red, these are the expenses going out.
Yep.
And then is there a delta or is there, am I overspending?
Over. Mm-hmm.
Simply seeing that from a visibility standpoint completely changed
Yeah.
everything for them. Just that one simple change.
Well, or people use habit trackers, right? Every day that you work out or you walk 3 miles or you get your 10,000 steps, you get a star, you get a smiley face. Like, people want
I track
that.
all my workouts
Yeah. Like,
and go
people
to the gym.
need, that visual reinforcement of, I did this well today. I hit that goal today.
Seeing all 3 rings close on my
Oh, the
Apple Watch.
rings. Yeah. I mean, I think the rings are aggressive in the way it talks to you, but like,
I don't. That's why I don't have any audio. I just see them close.
yeah. So those are, you might already be using those in your day to day. You can use them for your finances as well. Um, Setting a calendar reminder for all of your due dates for your financial tasks. I don't know about you. If it's not written down, it does not exist. I cannot rely on my memory.
I mean, I use a calendar for everything from
Everything.
the stuff between, with us and the family to tasks for clients, emails to send out. I have a calendar for everything.
Yes, absolutely cannot rely on memory. And if you can, good for you. But this episode is about ADHD, so you probably can't. And I don't have ADHD, and I can't. And if you have a partner, build in a quick monthly money check-in. Again, 15, 20 minutes, verbal accountability, verbal pats on the back. Hey, we did this really well. We're under budget. We invested. We saved. All of those things. And then I really like the net worth tracker, which again, Monarch will very easily do for you if your accounts are in there. But seeing that number go up month over month is very inspiring and encouraging to me.
I love it when I'm first working, like a new client's coming on, and I could see from like the conversation we've had, the variety of the various information they've sent me that I'm like, they're doing a lot of things right, but they don't feel that way.
Mm,
And once we're able to put it into Monarch and they're able to see everything, and I'm like, hey, did you guys know that
you're
you're
doing this well,
did you know that you're a millionaires already? It doesn't feel like it,
but
but
you
you have
are.
a net worth of over $1 million.
Yeah. Ooh, how fun
Yes.
that you get to have those conversations. Yeah. So yeah, we will link Monarch again. You can get 50% off your first year. It's a great tool, super easy to set up, and it gives you that visibility. This
Yes.
Monarch actually checks a lot of these boxes,
100%.
which is great. Tip number 5 is designing the environment to reduce temptation. I think this one, especially in the digital age that we're in, is really important. I've been doing this for the past year, but thinking about things like deleting the shopping apps on your phone, deleting the credit card, from the app that's already pre-programmed. So you're laying in bed and you're just shopping and scrolling. Well,
To actually manually put your card
yeah,
information in.
if you don't know your card information by memory, or you have to like get out of bed, go downstairs, go grab your wallet, you might not buy that thing that you were going to just click on and buy because everything was already stored in your digital wallet. Unsubscribing from emails, that is huge. Listen, I don't want another single email in my entire life. So I'm unsubscribing from everything that I can, but like there is a sale every single day. I don't care what
Yeah.
holiday's coming up. I don't care what day of the week it is. There's a sale. You don't need to hear about it because 90% of what we're buying, we probably don't need.
Yeah. I don't, me, I overthink this. I'm like on the far opposite
You're on,
end.
yeah. We're not talking to
I
you
have my
here.
own problems.
I think putting things in your cart, I do this myself as well. Putting things in your cart and letting it sit there for 48 hours and then deciding 2 days later, is this still something that I want? Is this still something that I need? That is huge. I mean, again, we've all seen the memes, right? The Amazon save for later cart is up to $2 million.
I don't ever do that. That's interesting.
Oh, mine probably has 300 items in it.
Oh, geez.
Really? You don't have anything in your save for later cart?
Oh, save for later? Like things
Yeah.
that I like. Oh, yeah, I save things for later. I thought like an active
In your
cart.
No. Save for later in your Amazon cart.
Yeah, I mean, I save things there all the time that I don't even like. I probably have no intention of going back to. Honestly, I actually save a lot of things. I'm like, oh, maybe Jess might like this.
Oh, well, that's good. That's nice to know. But again, even just giving yourself a 48-hour window to revisit, that's going to take that like impulse, that spontaneity, that dopamine hit that you're just really trying to get just out of the picture completely, Use browser extensions that block one-click purchasing, add purchase confirmation steps, do anything you can to remove
The ease.
the ease of buying stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Delete the apps, unsubscribe, all the things. Definitely do that. And what is our last tip? Tip number 6, babe.
Working with someone like myself, a financial professional.
Oh, was that hard for you to say? Self-promotion. He's not good at that. It's important. And not everybody needs a financial advisor. We know that, but most people are not doing what they need to do on a comprehensive basis by themselves.
See, I would say you said most people don't need a financial advisor. I would say most people
Oh,
do.
no, that's what I meant.
Oh, I would say most people.
Did I say that?
I think maybe I heard you incorrectly. I would say most people do need some help. on
Yes.
this journey.
That is what I
Now,
agree with.
obviously, depending on where you're at on the journey and what your, actual finances look like as far as how much money you have coming in, stuff like that, maybe it doesn't make sense to pay for that at that point in time.
Mm,
But I find it hard. Like, I've yet to meet someone that could not benefit from working with an advisor. I've
right.
never met anybody.
Yeah.
Because
And
even honestly, like, I had the benefit of being an advisor and, like, being able just to have these conversations, all the time with other advisors
yeah.
where I'll ask them questions about myself, because two heads is often better than one.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think too, especially if you have those executive functioning challenges, then working with somebody that can help you get through the task list, help you complete the things that are going to move the needle, have more frequent check ins with you, simplify what is stressing you out. Heck, you could schedule a session to open your mail together on the call with Brandon and like tackle what's in front.
Also, it's having someone letting you know that it's okay that you have these hurdles to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm like,
There's no
if
judgment
you know
here.
you have ADHD, hey, we know you have ADHD.
Yeah.
Let's move past it. Now let's find like a working plan that helps you as the individual.
Yeah.
What do you need? And having somebody, kind of let you know that it's okay to be you.
Yeah.
In some aspects, it's okay to be
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah. So as you're listening, if this hit home and you're feeling seen, like you're not alone, and so many people are not only struggling to navigate their finances just in general, but then if you have a brain that makes traditional advice feel completely out of reach, it is not your fault. So again, you are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. This is not your fault. And the financial industry in general was not built for neurodivergence. It just wasn't. And the advice is kind of blanketed. It's that one size fits all. And even though people say like personal finance is personal, there's not much out there to help people who are struggling because of ADHD or other neurodivergence. So as you're listening and as we're wrapping up, if this has hit you, here are just a couple of things. You can write this down to do today or this week to help you get one step closer to being more organized. So automate at least one bill, preferably where you live. Maybe you can do that. Automate a bill, your savings, anything like that. Automate it. Set your first money date. Try to do it on a day that you can do consistently. Like maybe on Mondays, you have less to do. I don't know. Pick a day where you have 15 minutes and the least amount of distractions, and you can sit down and really unpack what's in front of you monetarily. Delete at least one shopping app or multiple shopping apps. And then unsubscribe from an email, which, if you have Gmail. Retail email, yeah. If you have Gmail, you can actually.
It's very easy.
It'll tell you like unsubscribe and you just hit the button and then confirm and like boom, you're done. It takes 3 seconds.
Although I feel like there's one that I've like unsubscribed to like
Same.
1,000 times and it's just not working.
It's not working. I know, but just keep trying. And then write a financial goal down, maybe your top 1 or 2 goals, and put it in a visible place. Put it on your coffee machine, put it on your mirror in your bathroom, put it, on your rear view mirror in the car.
That's probably not safe.
In the corner? Not like
I would say not safe.
on the dashboard? Okay. Put it
on the dashboard, maybe, not on the mirror.
Somewhere where
How big is your mirror?
I mean, for a Post-it note?
First of all, the mirror in your car is not that big.
Okay. All right. Delete that. We're not putting Post-it notes on our rearview mirror.
That's insanity.
You should see Brandon's face right now. But point is, put a goal somewhere visible so you can see it, so you're motivated by it, and you can take small actions every single day to help you reach that goal. What do you want people to walk away with, babe?
Honestly, I think, like, the biggest thing that I want people to understand is like understanding who you are and not trying to create a plan for the person you want to be necessarily.
Yep.
Like, understand who you are today, like not some version of that you wish you could be. Who are you today? What are the hurdles that you currently face? And let's plan for that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have ADHD, we're not putting a plan in place for someone who doesn't have ADHD.
Right.
You need to put a plan in place for your needs.
For your needs, yeah. So hopefully this has been a helpful episode. You are not broken. You are not alone. If you have not yet hit subscribe on our podcast, please do that. That'll also take you half a second. Hit subscribe right now, wherever you're listening. Share this episode with a friend or family member that you know needs it. And as always, if you have not yet left a rating or a review, please do that for us. It helps get our podcast in front of other
And
people
it's
who
free.
need this information. And it's free 99. Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything except for a few seconds of your time. So, we hope that this has been a helpful conversation. We hope that you feel seen. We hope that you know that you are perfect just the way you are. You are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. And you can do this. And if you need help and you need support and you need an accountability partner, reach out to Brandon, schedule your free consultation, and see if you're the right fit. And, you know, get support. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Thank you, friends, for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Don't forget, Benjamin Franklin said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. You just got paid. Until next time.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go. Smart investments, money flow.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. We are so glad to have you as part of our Sugar Daddy community. If you learned something today, please remember to subscribe, rate, review, and share this episode with your friends, family, and extended network. Don't forget to connect with us on social media at the Sugar Daddy Podcast. You can also email us your questions you want us to answer for our Pass the Sugar segments at thesugardaddypodcast@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail through our Instagram.
Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based upon your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a licensed professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information you find in our podcast and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise.